what quarterback you may see. So I guess it's good news you're kind of used to this at this point.
Yeah, you kind of you're ready to ride, and you always prepare, even if somebody has a defined starter, defined QB1, even if it's not as good-looking guy as the picture you sent me. But you always prepare for two guys or a backup in case a situation happens, somebody gets hurt. But this week, obviously, you're preparing for Jalen Jones, number 4, who was the starter most of the year. Up until last week, I think he played mostly receiver last week and took a few snaps as a more of a wildcat running type quarterback. Ran some specialty plays with him, but he's looked really good back there. Looked good in the Maryland game. Looked good in the Florida game. I think to me those are two of his best games. And just a kid that's played a lot of different places. I think he signed with Florida out of high school, started at Jackson State, was at JUCO, Bethune-Cookman, and now Charlotte. So he's been around a few places, an older guy, and certainly has some speed and some wheels back there. So you got to know, what he's capable of. When 11's back there, he started the game last week. He's played in every game this year. He's more of a pocket passer. He's from Wakefield High School in Raleigh. Really good operator, throws the ball really well down the field. Thought he made a nice throw at the end of the game at Navy, and does some good things. So you're going to prepare for both. You have a little bit different game plan, a little bit different call sheet for both guys. But it is what it is, kind of each and every week. And like you said, we've been prepared for that all year, and you've seen a little bit all year of not knowing if this kid's going to play or that kid's going to play. So you just kind of prepare for all of it. And our guys have done a really, really good job of just handling that. And I think all those experiences throughout the year have helped us this week in practice.
Last week you faced a quarterback who kind of wiggles around, scrambles a little bit. You mentioned you might see that again this week. So what do you tell the guys just about being coverage and extended?
Yeah, I think Preston Stone's a really good example of a guy that can create some plays with his legs and move around and has really good arm talent, all those things. Does a really good job that we saw last Thursday night. And I think a couple plays he made down the field was in scramble situations. And I think a couple guys at times just took their eyes off just for a second or step, thinks he's breaking the line of scrimmage and they step up instead of, plastering their man. So that experience will carry over to this week. We've done a good job in practice this week at practicing those things as far as scramble drill. Just if the quarterback breaks the pocket, a plaster on. If you're free, make sure you add on, those type of things. So you certainly take those experiences from last week and carry them over to this week.
Y'all played a lot of corners this year. What's that relationship like with Jules and those guys as far as deciding who plays when? I mean, I know Siobhan Antoine played a hell of some of the other guys.
Yeah, and when you're having to cover about 20 deep balls down the field like last week at SMU, you better make sure those guys are fresh and can keep going because they're rolling their receivers in and out, and they got some really talented receivers. So we got to make sure we were able to do the same. I think Siobhan probably played the most snaps of anybody of those guys last week and had a really good game. I mean, outside one deep ball, I thought that's the type of Siobhan we've been expecting all year, and you finally see him getting that confidence. And now I told him the next step is just go pick a few of those things off, and we'd all be really happy. I thought IBM made a nice play down the field in the end zone, and you saw his swagger and his confidence just go out the roof right there on that one play, and you kind of felt like, hey, he's back to who we expected him to be. He's been playing meaningful snaps out there. Antoine Jackson, obviously, started the last couple games, doing a good job, and Jonathan Jones. So all 4 of those guys kind of give you a 2 deep out there where you can rest those guys. I think in the past couple of years we may have rotated 2 or 3 guys, or 2 guys played a lot, or rotated 3 guys. I think this allows us to, hey, the field guys play the field, the boundary guys play the boundary, and just give us good rest and rotation out there.
Siobhan said he hadn't been tested like that probably since ever. I mean, so when you're kind of looking at that and talking to him, can you kind of see that confidence maybe grow just because?
Oh yeah, and I think the outcome of the game was not what we certainly wanted, but we did some good things in the game, defensively, and there's some things we got to improve on defensively, and we got to go back to work on and do a better job of, starting with me and doing a better job of fixing them. But I did see, not just Siobhan, but there's things that happen throughout the game that defensively we gain confidence through, and you've seen that through the last couple of ball games. not necessarily the outcome, but the process. We're getting there. We're getting where we need to be. And those young guys like a Siobhan is gaining those reps and gaining that experience where he is getting tested down the field. Now he knows he can make the play. Now he knows, hey, if I just get my eyes around a little quicker, cut it off a little quicker, hey, I can get a pick here. So you're going to see that at every position, especially those two corner positions where those guys haven't played a lot of snaps. I think, the Sam, the Mike, the Will, Ra, Taylor Jackson, Mike Edwards, B.J. Davis, I thought maybe had his best game of the year last week. Those guys are starting to come along and get that confidence and starting to take that next step. So, and we need them to. We need to take that next step to make sure we dominate, to make sure we finish the fourth quarter. And the big thing we focus on this week is creating turnovers. I thought we've been talking about third downs the last few weeks, and we capitalized on those. I think we had 8 or 9 3-and-outs last week, which is huge, and held those guys to a minimum. I think they converted 4 or 15 or something like that. But the next step we got to take is create a turnover. Get our offense a football across the 50, or go score with it and get us in position to put points on the board. So we've really been focusing on each of our indie periods. We did a drill against the offense today of just, hey, how can we take the ball away from the offense and create more havoc and chaos for the quarterback so we can get a bad ball in the air and we go pick it off. So we've been focusing hard on that.
SMU had a pretty quick 14 and then didn't do anything for a long time. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you're proud of the guys that they were able to bounce back after that. How difficult is that? Because when you see 14 in the first quarter,
Yeah.
a lot of times the team will score 42 or 50. That didn't happen.
Yeah, especially that's what I'm thinking sometimes, like, oh, damn. But I think the first game, we went 2 3-and-outs. And it really was, the next 14 was, hey, 2 deep balls down the field and then 2 scramble balls down the field. So it wasn't, we just calm the kids down, calm the guys down on the sidelines, hey, listen, it's just a couple snaps here, a couple snaps there, get our eyes in better place, and let's go play. And I think, like, the rest of the half, I think it was like 4 more 3-and-outs from the second quarter. So second quarter and third quarter, defensively pretty much dominated them and did a really good job. And obviously we'd like to be a little better, create a turnover in there, but I thought, we responded. And that's maybe the first time this year that I thought we responded just like that in a dominant fashion. And I think part of it is just what we talked about is those guys have that confidence, they have that experience now, they have those snaps under their belt that they're playing. Elijah Morris is back in there, so it's been big for us. And guys are stepping up and coming along. So, but you're right. Just seeing that first quarter, you got ooh, and they kind of caught their breath, bounced right back, and responded for 2.5 quarters.
We talked to Elijah on Tuesday and kind of asked him how much goes into learning basically how to play each position on the defensive front. As
Yeah.
the coordinator, how much versatility does that give you and Coach Tess to be able to employ those guys?
Yeah.
In different places?
It makes it easy. I mean, as far as now you can play. We always tell guys if you can play multiple positions, mistake free. Now you've made yourself more versatile, play multiple spots and be on the field more, and then you also don't have to, Eli is at the nose or at the tackle. How are we going to get him free? You can scheme things up like that and put it in different places. Same as your Mike and Wills. I think Mike Edwards played some Mike linebacker last week, and that also tells you a little bit about their development as far as a player and how they understand the defense and the scheme and their techniques and stuff like that. And they've been working hard to do that. So just really proud of those guys, and I think we got a few more guys that are flipping around. I mean, Jeremy Lewis has played linebacker, played edge. We put him in we call it the spinner package, where it's more like a 3-3 stack, and he's floating around in there. So just his knowledge of the game and his experience and the snaps he's had has allowed him to do a lot of different stuff, and I think you'll see more of that going forward.
I imagine usually going into a matchup, you're familiar with the head coach or coordinator or something.
Yeah.
How about Biff's a pretty interesting guy? Are you familiar with anybody over there?
Not a whole lot. I know a couple of guys just through being on the road and bumping to them in there. And obviously, you go back and research their backgrounds and kind of where they came from and, where maybe they pull their philosophy from. It's, like you said, some very interesting backgrounds as far as the OC, Mike Miller, and the head coach, the O-line coach, and kind of just following and tracing them back and how they all connect the dots. But you don't have any film to pull off of last year. You can't go back and hey, well, what did they do in this situation last year? What did they do in that situation? So you're kind of just looking at totally this year. Which is, you got enough games at this point in time, you kind of get a feel for it. But, you certainly respect the job they've done and the job that they've done throughout their career and where they've been to get to this point. And I think, they've taken over a program that's, not had a whole lot of success. And I think they keep fighting and got their kids playing hard and doing a really good job.
with Navy's scheme and yours being so similar, what kind of weight do you put into last week's game and how they kind of stop the offense from getting
I called Coach Newberry and asked him to send me a couple of those third down stops and a few of those turnovers he had, but he said he couldn't do anything for me. No, you do see some things on film, though, that, we obviously followed each other. I followed him at Kennesaw State, him and Coach Volker, and they're certainly doing a great job up there and did a great job. Anytime you can shut somebody out and play defense like they did, you're going to have a special day, and there's not a whole lot of those in college football. Every time you turn on the score on Saturday, you see very few shutouts, so to have a day like that for them was special. But I think certainly you take some things from that game or previous games that have played well against them or things that gave those quarterbacks trouble or the running backs trouble or O-line trouble, and you kind of steal that sometimes and maybe add to what you already have. Obviously, you're not going to change your scheme or what your philosophy is, but you can kind of, hey, there's something we already do that we can steal and kind of add to, or hey, look what gave them problems there. Let's go with that. So, but those guys, certainly got Navy playing hard and doing things the right way, and hopefully we can replicate some of that success they had.